This is Blocks to Flow, the space where learning, living, and leading return to alignment. Hosted by Kohila Sivas. Together we reconnect, restore, and rewire the missing link. Unlearn survival, relearn rhythm.
Hello, Coach Todd. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Very, very good. Amazing. So, Todd, when we begin our chat in this conversation, I always like to ask my guests to share with us something that you do to ground yourself.
Yeah, great. So I have a few practices. One is I love the breathing that we often do together as coaches. Sometimes it's the 4x4. Breathe in, hold for 4, breathe out for 4. Sometimes my body needs more of a 4x6, so I'm breathing in and holding and then breathing out for 6. So that's a really easy practice. I also meditate, and so finding just a space to, even if I have 2 minutes, just to sit, focus on my breath, kind of stare into the middle distance. I often find my mind is trying to solve problems at the same time. So I'll talk to my brain and just say, not right now. I'll do that in a few minutes. So those are 2 ways that I like to ground myself.
So you're saying when you're actually meditating, you're telling your brain not to go here or here, but stay here.
Yeah. So my brain will say things like, well, you need to make sure you answer that email or write that note, and I'll just say, not right now. And then usually after the 2 minutes, then I get going and do the things that I need to do.
Beautiful. So let's do 2 of those rounds of the grounding breathing, because most of the time, a lot of our coaches and a lot of the conversation I have, they do share the breathing. Breathing is such a perfect way to rest our nervous system, right?
Yes.
So you said 4 in, 4 hold, and 6 out?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. And then hold, right? Hold for 4. And then exhale for 6. Let's do it one more time. And hold. Then exhale for 6. So amazing to start with breathing too, right? When we're on any meetings like this. For those of you who are watching, it's so great to start any conversations with even loved ones. Just, start with the breathing. Let's just calm ourselves down, right? Do you put your feet on the floor when you're breathing?
I do, yeah. I put both feet on the floor and just kind of like ground in a little bit to that as well.
Beautiful.
And I'll do it with my students. I'm a classroom teacher, so I'll just count off on my fingers while they're doing it.
Oh yeah, you shared that. Can you tell us about that? Counting with the finger and
I just if it's 4, then I just 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they just kind of follow along with that. And kids are funny. The first couple of times they were like, "What are we doing?" And this is weird. And they were trying to be all goofy with it. But over time, they've just known, like their bodies are just like, "Oh yeah, we like this."
Yeah. Just, the buy-in is sometimes hard, right? You're teaching middle school, right?
Yeah. 3rd and 4th graders, actually.
4th grade. Okay.
Yeah. I used to teach middle school, but this year, 3rd and 4th. So, but yeah, the buy-in can be hard, but you just consistency over time. And then eventually they just sort of are like, "Oh no, this is the thing we do."
Yeah. And with a lot of these things we do as coaches too, it's the conviction, right? We know it works. So when you do it with that conviction, even the people who are not buying in, or students, or sometimes adults too, the conviction always contagious.
Yeah. And I say to the kids, this isn't just a kids thing. This is not just a kids thing. I do this. Healthy adults do this. This is not just doing a goofy thing with you guys. It's like this is how we get back to baseline.
And that's so important, right? For us, we never learned that this is a living system. It's a breathing system. And our breathing is so much important for everything, because if I hold my breath, there's no oxygen. So then there's no brain. The brain can't work. It doesn't have the fuel to work anymore. Right. So if we understand this is a living system, it makes sense like how important what I'm doing is. It's not just breathing, it's breathing.
Right. And I teach my kids all about the connection between their brain and their body. So I like to use my hand. I tell them this is the amygdala and it tucks underneath the prefrontal cortex, and you have, one of each. And then we physically do it. I say, like, when you are stressed or anxious, you flip your lid and your amygdala takes control.
Mm.
So I give them this really physical. So sometimes when they're kind of, wild or crazy, I'll just go. They all know what that means. Oh yeah, no, yep, that's where we are.
Yeah, beautiful. And you do a lot of improv, right?
I do, yeah. Not
How much of that do you use in the classroom?
personally, I use a lot of it, but I don't tend to do a whole lot with the students. Sometimes I do for writing and just kind of, but it gets talk about active. Like it gets them so active, and so I have to like really plan specific times. Otherwise, the rest of the day can be very challenging. I've just basically said, go for it. Let your body and brain do what you want. And then they're like, wait, what? So it's carefully scripted when I do it, but I love to do it as a lead into writing a lot of times with kids. They love that.
Beautiful. Do they ever want to like practice with you, like in that way?
You mean to do improv with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they love that's what they would do it all day. And if that was the only thing I needed to do, that'd be a fun way to spend a day.
Yeah, but there's fun ways to teach them too, right? The material could be
Oh
taught.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of ways. Like even just to, like, if we're doing a concept and it's math and it's getting really kind of like, wait, what are we talking about? Then if I physicalize it with them, then that can help them. I think as adults, sometimes we try to live up here.
Yeah.
And kids don't. Kids live full through. And you can see this when you say to a kid, like, they're expecting pizza for lunch and it's, I don't know, lasagna. They don't just go, they like their whole body falls.
Disappointment.
You know what I mean? And they just feel the whole thing through their body. So as much as I can connect in with them and I'm not a teacher who has kids just sitting at desks all day long. Like we move a lot during our day.
Beautiful. I just love your class now. I want to be in it.
You should come visit. It's fantastic. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, sounds like it, and especially grade 3 and 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good time for imaginations to
Yes.
bring it out. Yes, awesome. So when you think about the phrase blocks to flow, what moment in your life comes to your mind first, Todd?
I think for me, the idea of blocks to flow is like where I've felt my own blocks in life, like whether they were money blocks or just like creative blocks. And then when I was learning to be a teacher, I was already an improviser. Like I already did improv. And I know that when I'm in that space in my body as an improviser and in that headspace of being like, this may be not the way I think it's going to be. This might go a different direction or something else might happen that I don't expect. And I say yes to that, then that puts me into that flow state. So I was very aware of that already as a teacher and using sort of improv and that way of teaching with myself as an individual and, in small ways with kids as well. But for me personally, like as I move through my day, I just think about like, what can I open up in these moments? You and I, you've talked about the doors, and I really connected with the idea of like different door. When you're stuck with a problem, what are the different doors you might open? And for me, that resonated because that's improv. Like, how can I open this moment and accept what's happening? Then work with that energy rather than get tied up in I wish it was different, or I wish something else was happening, or whenever I've found myself in that energy in my life, it feels very blocked. It feels very trapped. But as soon as I say, oh, I thought it was going to go this direction and it's not, I can fight that, but then I'm just going to hit like wall after wall after wall. But if I go, oh, okay, that's not the way this is going to unfold. It's maybe going to unfold this way. That helps me to kind of move around those blocks.
Yeah, and you're also a musician, right? So that performance is definitely a flow state.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. When I'm playing on stage, I play mostly Irish music. So it's fun. It's upbeat. It's energetic. I like to say even depressing Irish songs are pretty upbeat and fun. um, yeah, I'm in that flow state for 2.5, 3 hours. Like in those chunks of time will pass very quickly.
In that state where you're able to, even in music, you're able to solve problems that comes along. Even if somebody's off, you're able to correct, right? Because flow is just easy to maneuver, right? Because it's like water flowing through.
That's so true. That is so true. Yeah, if something messes up in a song or whatever, and you just kind of move around it, and the audience doesn't know. They're like, well,
if you drop it and go,
right.
oh, oops, just made a mistake. Now we lost the whole audience, right?
Right, exactly.
But if we don't acknowledge it, but we just like a water would pass by some rock or that comes in its way, right? Like obstacle, right?
Yes, 100%.
The music is singing. Flows.
Yes.
Music flows, right? Yeah. So it's a beautiful state, isn't it? When we are able to find the flow in our life.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes things so much easier and calmer, and things appear you didn't expect to appear when you're in that flow state. And in fact, even coming this work as a coach, what came through a flow state for me, because I've been teaching for 28 years, and I'm staying in the classroom, but I'm also looking ahead and thinking, okay, at some point I won't be a teacher. What am I going to do? And as I sort of just open that possibility up for myself, the information came across about coaching and the practice, blocks to flow practice, and I was just like, oh, that's it. I want to do that. And I felt that energy, right? That's what happens in flow. It's like, oh, let's go that way. And yeah, it's been a great journey. And yeah, it's just that came from that flow state of like opening a possibility of what else could I do beyond just being a teacher, and how can I continue if I'm not in the classroom to really help kids and families come into themselves. That's always been my goal as a teacher, to help kids. I always say to my families, my parents, when I'm working with kids, I'm not just teaching kids, I'm teaching future adults. That's how I really look. And that's how I talk to kids too. I say, as you grow, as you progress, as you mature, these little skills that I'm giving you are sort of foundational pieces so that you can go out in the world and do what you want as an adult, to the best of your abilities.
Absolutely. So when would you say you had that realization that I need to build something for my future? Possibilities are out there, right? What was the turning point when you start thinking about your future? Was that it?
Yes, definitely. It was just like, it really just came from that place of, as a teacher, I serve kids and families. I have a specific job as a teacher. I have curriculum that I need to deliver, and there's some social emotional learning, but it's mostly like, how do I move 25 kids all going in one direction? And a couple years ago, I had a student who was just such an amazing individual. What a great kid he was, but just struggled day to day in school. And it really broke my heart because I could tell that he didn't have, you call it, and I call it when I talk to families, the prerequisite skills he needed to be successful at school. He didn't have those. Like, no one had downloaded that system into his body. And so here he was as a fifth grader, because I was teaching fifth grade at the time, just like, talk about blocks, like just trying to figure it out and not having any of the skills. And I thought, if there was just some way I could spend some time with him, just him, not the 24 other kids. And so I could, like, in tiny bits and pieces, but it never felt like it was enough. And so when, I encountered the one-on-one coaching, I thought, oh, this is the way that I can reach these kinds of kids. And that's what inspired me, is just those kids who just feel like school isn't their thing. It's not even just that school, like they'll even say, I don't really like learning. How's that possible?
Yes.
That's you're a human being. This is what we do. So if I can help those kids to figure out the ways that they can move through their day with more ease, where they can spend time talking to their own brain and say, okay, I can do this, that positive self-talk, grounding their own body. Those are things he needed. And we did little things here and there. And yes, his next year was more successful than his last because we were able to onboard some of those skills.
Yeah. And that's the big missing link in our classroom, is that we expect everybody to come and arrive at the classroom ready to learn. With
Right.
that already readiness, prerequisite of the readiness to learn is getting ourselves settled and entering the flow state, because only in flow state anyone can learn. Before that, it's all pressure, right? If
Right.
you make me learn when I'm not in flow or even mildly in flow, I'm rejecting because my nervous system is off and I want to do other things, right?
Right.
So that's why if we could implement, even the new year of the school, if we could start with less curriculum and start learning about how do we become ready to learn. I mean, that's my vision, is to have that part of the school system. So every child who is coming like that boy could feel like nothing's wrong with me. I'm just not ready yet.
Yeah. That would be the message I would want. And the message I would want to give him and his parents. He's not broken. It's not about he can't or doesn't want to, or it's about we're putting him into an environment. And, we use the car analogy sometimes. It's like you're sitting in the driver's seat. No one's taught you how the car works. Go. And I like to say to kids, it's like they're standing outside of the car pushing it. And some kids who, might have had some of that, or maybe a little bit have some of those prerequisites, are driving. And those kids are going, I must be broken. I don't know how to do this. And I want to say, no, you just haven't learned it yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to bring into other people's life. That's our mission, right? To bring this to 1.5 billion humans by 2035, is to make sure that they don't learn that they're broken or they can't do this, but just need to get ready. And every readiness looks different, right? You spend you said 28 years, right? 28 years?
Yes.
So how many of the students you've seen. Every student is different, right?
Every student is different. And, even students from the same family, like I often teach siblings, and they're so different. And at school, because we have 20, 25 kids in a classroom, we kind of have to treat them all the same. It's like you have to teach to the middle of the bell curve, but that doesn't serve those kids who aren't ready yet.
Yeah. We have family structures have changed over time, right? Even I got divorced and I had my son. I was, he was sharing two households. A lot of fathers might be watching. So because you're a father as well, to get our kids ready in two different houses because they share the household, right? It's very, it's a unique and delicate balance, right?
It sure is. Yeah.
It's like juggling lots of balls at the same time and becoming expert at it at the same time. We don't know about how it all works. So what would you say to a dad who's watching right now, if he's in that situation? If even one of the members, the parent, want to see it through this, like, my child's not broken, my child just need to get the readiness OS into them, right, to really ground and flow, and the other parent is not buying that. It's more behavior,
Oof. Yeah, that is tough. That's really tough. I think, to the best of the ability to work with the co-parent to talk through. And I find it's helpful to be curious. When I can approach, because I am also divorced, so I'm, I have a partner, but I've spent a good portion of my parenting time being a single dad and working with my co-parent, but approaching it from a grounded curiosity, I think, is the best. And so I always like to say, what are you seeing? And this is what I'm seeing, and comparing those notes. And then I am incredibly blessed in that my daughter's co-parent and I have good communication. But it's tough. I've seen parents where that communication is not happening very smoothly, and it's a hard road. You have to gently insist, I would say.
Yeah, beautifully
Yeah.
said. And I think it's important for parents to really look at it this as whatever you would have done together, that should never change just because you're separate. For
Right.
that child, whatever
Right.
you've done together should remain intact because
Right.
they're still your daughter, right? Or son.
Right. My
But
daughter.
because you're separate, right? Like I
Yeah.
was separate too. It doesn't change the way we're going to assist my child, right? So, as
Right.
you said, be curious about what's happening. What do you see? What I'm seeing. Here's what's going on. So if there's a difference in that, we should come together as much as possible
Yeah.
so that our kids see a unity
Yeah.
versus parents going this way, because that's just
Absolutely. And again, I was very lucky, even in that process of splitting two households. My co-parent and I
yeah,
really
beautiful.
insulated our child from anything that was happening between us. So even to this day, like she doesn't have that sense of like mom and dad are against each other.
Yeah.
She really sees us as that unified piece.
Yeah.
And even she's a middle schooler, so she likes to poke things, and she'll even say, "Well, Mama would do this," and I go, "Nah, I've talked to Mom."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm just,
They
no,
love to do that, don't they? Pull that one. Yes, yes, yeah.
yeah.
So
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 then,
the unity comes stronger then, right? When you say
right,
that,
exactly,
there's
and
another
then
way
she's
of doing that.
right. Then she's sort of like, "Ah, darn, rats."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Was there anything that was hard for you to unlearn or break as you became a Blocks to Flow coach in your life, Todd?
Sure. I think I had to shift the way I thought to a more holistic view of working with kids. And I've always had some of that, but I think what I needed to unlearn was really pieces just around what behavior means for kids. And when we're seeing things like misbehavior, or we're seeing things like almost like, I didn't do my work or I didn't turn in my homework. And instead of looking at it as like, oh, what's wrong with this kid or what's wrong with this family, it's more like, oh, what got in your way? So that is a great conversation I have with kids now all the time that I didn't have before as a teacher. So when kids might say like, well, I didn't do that, or, I got really, I don't know, grumpy about this thing. And I'll often say to the kid, oh, what got in your way? Because that then again, that opens that conversation, and it's not about blame. It's not about, oh, you did this thing wrong or you couldn't handle this. It was what blocked you? What stopped you from doing that?
Yeah.
Um, and I've been working with a client who, when this family first came to me, they said, she's really smart. She's very talented, but she procrastinates a lot. And so as I began to talk with her, and I would say to her, well, what got in your way? What got in
Mhm.
your way? What she and I, the client, the kid and I quickly realized it's not procrastination. She had no time to rest. And she just could not, she was just go, go, go all day, and then was trying to push her way into getting something done homework wise later in the afternoon or evening after going all day long. And it was just that conversation. What got in your way? And she would say, well, I had dance and then I got home and I was exhausted. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And so she relaxed. She was like, oh, I'm not a procrastinator. I said to her, you don't procrastinate. Your body's telling you, stop. So then once we started that, we didn't even have to change her schedule. She just went, oh, wait, I could rest here. I could rest here. I could
Mhm.
do this instead of that. And she articulated that. She said, well, maybe instead of doing that, I could spend some time playing with the cats. And I was like, well, what would feel restful to you? And she's like, if I was just curled up on the floor with the cats for 10 minutes. I was like, let's try it. So then she did. But I think a good, like probably 50% of solving that problem was just changing the message in her own mind. I'm a procrastinator to I'm a kid who has a lot going on. And every now and then I need to rest.
And it's okay to rest.
And it's okay to rest. Yeah.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. And that's the thing with us giving names, right? And then goes on to the labels more. If it's more becomes a significant, we get a label.
Right.
then the child start attaching to that label and makes it its own identity, part of the identity.
Yeah. I think it can be valuable to say, oh, this is what's going on in my brain. But then what I think is super important as a coach is to say, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Great. All right. Yeah. You have ADHD. Now what?
Yeah.
What do we do about that? Not just, oh, I guess you can't do it.
Yeah.
Because you have ADHD. Right. It's like, yeah, there's people in wheelchairs. Now what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when somebody breaks their leg, like even my mom too, 4 months ago broke her thigh bone, and the same procedure, right? She could have kept saying, my bone is broken. I can't walk. I can't walk. I can't walk. That's
Right.
it. But instead the therapy is a daily get up and make a few steps. Just get up and sit up.
Yeah.
Get up and stand up.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's the same thing with anything like ADHD, autism. It's all, we could look at it as it's helpful, but then what's next?
Right.
Absolutely. What's my next step?
I think the value comes in allowing a kid to realize, again, I'm not broken. My brain works differently. So now we know your brain works differently. It doesn't work like this. It works like this. So now what? What do we do about that? And that quickly moves that conversation away from like shame and blame and, I'm this way, so I'll never, I do still encounter those kids, obviously, as third and fourth graders. I was working with a student today who said, I'm sorry, I just can't do that. I'm really tired. I said, oh, okay, let's rest for a minute. We rested. And then I said, now what? And he was like, I think I can do it now. I said, oh, okay, great.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful space to give him, right? Because nobody would say that. Most of the time we don't.
No, most of the time, I don't care if you're tired. This is what we're doing right now.
What?
Get back on it, push through. Yeah, definitely. Those messages. That's how I grew up with those messages. So talk about unlearning. I had to unlearn the guilt that I feel every time I rest.
Yes.
Because I was raised in a household with a dad, loved my dad, hard worker all his life.
Yeah.
My mom as well. I don't think I ever had a concept that adults got tired and needed rest. And so it took me many, many years to realize that when I'm tired, my emotional response to that is guilt. So I had to unlearn that, which has been really powerful.
Oh, you're not alone in that. Because we're performance-based, right? We're so performance-based.
Yes.
So unless we have enough performance to prove, why would we rest?
Yeah, totally.
So keep going until you have enough performance to prove your worth. Then you might think about resting.
Right.
While thinking about the next performance, right?
Which is why I think some people work really hard until they're ready to retire. They retire and then they pass away like within a year or two. You read about that all the time. And I have to think it's because they just kept pushing through. When their body finally rested, they were like, done. Yeah.
Retirement false belief is the hardest one to unlearn. To work. And then you retire and you enjoy.
Right.
I don't know how much you can do when you're 60 and 65 versus when you're 40, right?
Right. Yeah.
Different what you can even eat.
Right. Right.
I mean, I had to unlearn that. I'm like, I'm not waiting until 65. I can't do that. Sorry. Not going to happen in my life. I need it now. I'm going to enjoy now as I work. Why not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, I see so many people. Like I just, last year I was living in Cabo, Mexico. So many retired people. I felt like many of them have empty lives.
Right.
65. I don't want to be that person.
Right. Because all they did was work.
Work.
They had nothing else.
Yeah.
And they performed their whole life and suddenly that's taken away. And now who am I?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Such a withdrawal. Like, I cannot do that. So I'm happy. We're both enjoying our life and doing what we need to. So I love the story you just shared with about your student. And that's the beauty of it, right? You said the holistic approach allows us to look from the 360-degree analysis of what's happening and away from any labels that are already placed and shift.
Yep. So when he said, oh, I can't do this, I'm really tired. said, okay. And I just sat with him for a second. I said, let's rest. Let's rest. Like, and I had a little space there to be able to do it. Other kids were working around us. This was a work time. And we just sat for a sec and I breathed a little bit. I didn't even say, do you want to breathe? I just did it myself. And then after it didn't take very long, maybe 30 seconds or so, I said, how you doing? I'm still pretty tired. But what I sensed was I could tell he had started to ground a little bit, right? That morphic resonance, right? As I started to ground, he started to ground. And then I just said, okay. And I just calmly said to him, now what? Are we ready? Can we do anything? And he was like, yeah, I think so. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
And if there'd been more pushback, we would have come up with it.
Try it again.
Right.
What else do you need? Yeah. I mean, if a kid can take a rest for 5 minutes, 10 minutes and come back and do half an hour work at full acceleration, I'm happy.
Yeah, I have a spot in my classroom called the take a break chair. And at any moment, like literally almost at any moment, if I'm directly teaching them something, I might say, not right now. It's not a good time because you want to hear this. But kids do this. They just have a little signal.
Oh.
And I just say, and right at that chair is a 5-minute timer.
Mm.
And they flip the 5-minute timer and then they come back.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Structure, everything, right? Yeah. When your body ask for it. It just teaches so many things to not feel guilt like we do, right?
Right.
I mean, these kids are going to feel no guilt in taking a 5-10 minute break.
Right.
Whenever they need. So it's beautiful. Thank you for doing that. So if your younger self was to witness who you are now, what do you think they'd notice first about Todd?
I think my younger self, because of my background, would notice that I'm safe. I think I spent a good amount of time just in, growing up in the 80s. I was a latchkey kid. Again, my parents are fantastic. It was the time, right? I'm not criticizing how my parents operated. My parents got divorced in the 80s. When that happened in America, you saw your dad every other weekend. So that's how it went. And I think I went through a good amount of time not feeling safe. And it wasn't that I felt like I was going to get mugged or robbed or anything. It was more, the best way I can say it is an existential safety. A feeling of like, am I okay? Am I going to be okay? I think I'm okay getting a little woo-woo with you.
Yeah, for sure.
But I have like visualized my younger self and had conversations to repair that piece to myself where I've said, I've got this. Like, I'm able to handle this as an adult, because that little 7-year-old, 8-year-old Todd still lives inside me and he gets nervous.
We all do. Yeah, we all have our own inner child.
And he gets scared and, am I going to be okay? And I have to say, no, I got this. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
That's the power of talking to ourselves, right?
Right. Oh yeah. It's very much talk to your brain. Very much talk to your brain. And, I have a client who calls it her 2-year-old brain. And I say, and she said that, and she said, I have a brain like a 2-year-old. I said, we all have 2-year-old brains.
We can call them like a roommate, a 2-year-old with a lot of tantrums and out of nowhere. And you're like, what are you doing right now? Yeah.
I don't want to.
What are you doing? Who are you? Where are you coming from? Right? I'm fine. Leave me alone.
Yeah. So I do that. I talk to that younger self, and when I get anxious about things, and I just say, it's okay. I'm safe. Like, I think my younger self would notice that about me. We'll go, wait, I made it that far. I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. And also now the younger self also will know, like, you have the capacity to ask, what do I need? Without that guilt, right?
Right.
Because the safety, even if you needed a break, you couldn't give a break.
Oh, no,
find
yeah.
safety in your life because you got to go.
Yeah.
Because we're on a treadmill, like we just got to go.
Yeah.
The only button we have. Go button.
That hit my 20s 100%. It was like, all right. And then I can be a bit of a people pleaser. So then it's like, oh, these people need this thing done and I'm exhausted. Who cares? Go do the thing. And so I've had to learn, like, nope. In fact, for a long time, my message to myself was put on your own oxygen mask.
Yes.
Before you assist somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. How can people connect with you? I think the beautiful thing I'm learning from Todd on this chat is that it's so amazing how you coach and how you're doing it within the classroom. You're already doing it, which is it's amazing. Like I have been in a classroom for a long time. This is our vision, right? To make sure that all kids have this early enough so that we don't have to, in our 30s and 20s and 50s and 60s, feel like we're broken and do
Right.
personal development to develop ourselves rest of our lives, right? Like we don't need people to think that and exit high school or university. So you're already doing it. That's amazing. So how can you connect with to Todd? I'm going to have all his information under the video, the show notes. He does offer coaching, Blocks to Flow coaching, and he can assist in subject as well. But I think more importantly, if you're a dad watching this, and we talked about having separate families, right? Like a lot of the times what dads do is they don't share.
Oh, yes.
Because
100% true.
part of the cultural
Yes.
kind of conditioning. If you're a guy, you got to be tough. You don't share stuff, and you got to. But our children don't come with the parenting manual, right? They
Right.
just come into our lives. So if
Right.
you're going through something, having coaching with Todd would be amazing because he's got the experience, he's doing it, and also the Blocks to Flow. It doesn't matter what part of life you're in or what stage of your life you're in. It just gives you tools, strategies, so that you can just stay in flow as much as possible, right?
100%. And yeah, I think working with dads would be really, really powerful because single dads, there's a lot of undoing of some guilt in there. And also just generally what you said, right? We don't share. We shut it down, shove it in, and go get it done. And then that's a recipe for just toxicity in your own body over time.
Yeah. And talking about is not weakness. It's actually strength.
Oh, no, exactly. Yeah. Again, you can't solve it if you don't know it's there. And if all you've ever known, because people my age and a little bit younger and older, we weren't taught how to access those emotions. We were taught, you don't cry, shove some dirt, rub a little dirt on it and get going.
Yeah.
And that wasn't healthy, right? That didn't lead to healthy relationship with anybody else, ourselves, with our kids. So yeah, that's powerful, powerful work.
Yeah. Please connect with him because he is amazing and he can help you. So Todd, we always end with this. Finish this sentence for me. Flow is?
Flow is, that's such a great question. I think flow for me is the awareness of possibilities. So it's again, I talked about that opening up. It's like, oh, I could go this way. I could go this way. We haven't mentioned this, but I was a raft guide for about 10 years. That it's like you'd hit a rapid and you just kind of let the possibilities guide you down. And that for me is flow. Like maybe I'm blocked. Maybe this isn't going to work. So if I move around this direction, or maybe I'm just not thinking about it in the right way. So if I look at those other possibilities, that to me is flow. Open up.
Beautifully said. I love that analogy. And life is not going to be an easy ride. We never said it's a smooth river we're floating on.
You can't guarantee me that? Come on.
It is definitely a draft. You got to find out how you're going to maneuver through all of those obstacles, right? So
100%.
Yes, amazing. So flow is, again, say one more time. You said
I think flow is being able to be open to the possibilities.
It's beautifully said. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for all the work you've done and doing and will do.
Thanks for the invitation and thanks for the opportunity to speak. This was a great conversation. I loved having this conversation with you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Bye.
You've been listening to Blocks to Flow, where learning, living, and leading return to alignment. Keep reconnecting. Keep restoring. Keep rewiring your way back to rhythm. Discover more at holisticsuccesscodes.com and join the movement reshaping how we learn, live, and lead. Until next time, flow forward.